Well, President Trump said it. Tariff checks could be coming to the American people very soon. But there's a little bit of a problem, and it has to do with this government shutdown. What we now know is there is a strong possibility that the American people could receive some funds from the federal government. But those same funds might need to be used to pay for military personnel, SNAP benefits, even federal workers. That's what we're hearing at this time. But look at this. It says Trump says tariff checks are probably coming to millions of Americans and soon. That's what he said just a few days ago on Air Force One. But what exactly is going on with this? Well, I want to show you something. This right here is from earlier in October, from a few weeks ago. It says Trump's tariff revenue could help keep the government open. Why isn't that happening? There is still a lot of talk that right now the Trump administration has so much excess cash at their disposal. Why are we not using it? Why are we not using this for SNAP benefits? Why aren't we using this for military pay? Why aren't we using this for federal workers? Why are we not using this money if it's just sitting there? That's the big question. And everyone says, well, we legally cannot touch it. But now the discussions, because so many people are going to be hurt and suffer as a result of this government shutdown, now the question is, well, if we do take some of this money and distribute it to the American people, who's going to question that? Who's going to come forward and say, no, we are going to sue you as a result of you using illegal funds? That's the big question. Because guess what Republicans did just a month ago? Republicans pretty much told Democrats, oh, you want to challenge us in paying our military personnel? Go for it. See what happens. Because experts said that would be political suicide, even though they knew the Trump administration didn't have a legal authority to use those funds, according to reports, that Democrats were never going to challenge it because it would look terrible on their part. I want to show you something. Look at this right here. It says government shutdown could lead to $14 billion in lost GDP, according to the Congressional Budget Office. This just came out yesterday. I want to read it to you. It says an ongoing federal shutdown could cost the U.S. economy between $7 billion and $14 billion, according to a new report. It says the report prepared in response to a request from House Budget Chair Jody Arrington estimate the economic impact of the shutdown if it lasts 4 weeks. A mark hit on Wednesday, 6 weeks or 2 months. Okay. It says under all three scenarios, the CBO expects economic growth to be back on track after 2026, but some of the real gross domestic product loss resulting from furloughs of federal workers will not be recovered. The permanent loss could be anywhere from $7 billion if the shutdown were to end now, and $14 billion if it were to drag on for an additional month. What I can tell you right now is this loss of $7 to $14 billion. Guess where that money could come from? We could essentially cover that loss with tariff revenue. But look what just happened. Okay, look what happened the other day. Look at this. It says, with some GOP backing, Senate votes to end Trump's Brazil tariffs. So the Senate has voted to end the tariffs of 50% on Brazil. I want to read this to you. It says the Senate on Tuesday voted to terminate the 50% tariffs that President Trump has imposed on Brazil, with a handful of Republicans crossing party lines to help push through a measure rejecting the emergency declaration used to justify them. It says, while the resolution faces long odds in the House, where Republicans have taken extraordinary steps to make it more difficult to bring up such measures, the vote signaled bipartisan frustration with the president's tariffs on most goods from Brazil, a country with which the United States has a multi-billion-dollar trade surplus. Okay. It said the resolution is one of the three that Democrats have planned to bring up for a vote this week to challenge Mr. Trump's moves to circumvent Congress and wage a trade war with that many lawmakers are concerned will harm their constituents. Votes are expected in the next few days on tariffs to the president impose on Canada and a global tariff rate on more than 100 trading partners. Now, one of the ways we could keep our federal government open, keep military personnel paid, keep federal workers paid, even those that are furloughed and laid off, and also fund SNAP benefits and WIC and so many other programs, we could use the funding from this tariff revenue. The problem is, can we legally touch this if, and as of right now, if the Supreme Court is still going to look into this? And it may happen sometime in November. Maybe it happens sometime in 2026. We just don't know. But some say the reciprocal tariffs are not legal. And that money that we've collected should go back to the American people. So the big question now is, how do we give it back to the American people? Are we going to give the American people a tariff rebate check? Is every single person going to get the same amount? Is it going to depend on how many things you have purchased in the past several months or year? Is it dependent on how much money you make? These are all questions that the American people have. But the reason why this is such a big deal is because all this stuff is happening at once. We are seeing President Trump just earlier this week say that yes, that tariff checks are probably coming to millions of Americans and soon. But he didn't give any indication. Is it going to be $600? Is it going to be $1,000 to $2,000, which initially he proposed? $600 is coming from Senator Josh Hawley. That's the proposal that he has put in front of the Senate. And I bring this to your attention because everybody wants to know, is there going to be any help to us Americans? Are we going to see a tariff rebate check? Are we going to see SNAP benefits finally go out? Are the federal workers going to finally be paid? Is the government going to finally be opened? Again, all questions that nobody, as of right now, really has an answer to. So, we'll see what happens over the next several days, but likely over the next 2 months. The expectation is we're going to have a lot of answers regarding this tariff revenue and whether or not we are going to get some type of tariff rebate check, but it might not happen until sometime in 2026. So again, as of right now, it's just posturing and just moving back and forth, but the answers will be coming soon enough. So, as we get more information on these tariff rebate checks or just any assistance to the American people, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates as soon as we get them. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.